As a new pet battler, I first leveled 3 random pets that I thought were cool looking, and when I finally got them to level 25 for the first time, things did not go well for me. What I wish I had at that time was some kind of list of pets that I could get with relative ease that would help me with all that is pet battle related in World of Warcraft, like actually being able to do the pet battle dailies in the Celestial Tournament. So this will be a list of 25 pretty solid pets to level to 25 that will actually help you beat stuff. Number 25 will be the Pandaren Water Spirit, Crominius, and the Unborn Valkyrie. Now I know this is 3 pets, but these 3 pets can take out almost any boss level pet with their combination attack, known as the Howl Bomb. A Howl Bomb is a Curse of Doom, Geyser, Whirlpool, Surge of Power, all going off at the same time while the opponent has both the 25% increased damage from the Unholy Ascension and the extra 100% damage buff from Howl. There isn't a boss pet in the game that can survive a perfectly executed Howl Bomb. Next up on the list, we have the Perfect Counter Pets. A Perfect Counter Pet is one that both takes less damage and has moves that do extra damage to another type, also known as Double Counter Pets. So number 24 will be Snails. Pretty much all of them, as they all have the same movesets. Snails are the perfect counter to elemental pets. They take less damage from elemental attacks and have a hard-hitting aquatic type move, which does 50% more damage to elementals. Number 23, Jade Owl, a cheap-to-make pet from Jewel Crafting. A magic-type pet with flying-type moves makes him the perfect counter to aquatic-type pets, which a lot of the Pandaren daily tamers are. Number 22, the Kunlai Runt, a perfect counter to critter-type pets, which you run into all the time as it's one of the most common types of pets to run into. There are a few other pets that also fit this role just as well, if not better, but they're all a little harder to get. Number 21, Toads. Pretty much anyone, since they all have the same movesets, just like the snails. They are the perfect counter to Undeads, which you run into all the time in PvP. Number 20, Scourge Whelplings, perfect counters to Dragonkin. Number 19, Spiders and Worms. Both are perfect counters to humanoid types. Spiders are way better though, as their undead move can hit harder and some spiders have pretty decent moves in addition to countering humanoids. There are quite a few other perfect counter pets, as nearly all elemental pets are perfect counters to mechanical pets, because mechanicals both do less damage and take more damage from elementals. And there are a lot of dragons with magic type moves, which are the perfect counter to flying type pets. There are also ones that will show up higher on this list, as they're also really good at other things besides just being perfect counters to a type. Next up on the list, we have the good undead pets. Undeads are really good in PvP, but not so good at everything else, as they take extra damage from critters and do less damage to aquatics, which there are a ton of in tamer teams and in the wild and boss pets. Leveling up an undead is like the worst thing you can do if you're starting out. Now then, number 18, Blighthawk. Blighthawks have one of the hardest hitting undead moves, Ghostly Bite, plus a ton of non-undead moves in the form of flying type moves, so he's decent to level up early. He's also really good in PvP. Number 17, the Macro Bay Marionette. If you need an undead pet to do lots of undead damage, this little guy is your go-to guy. He has 3 really good dots to choose from in an undead Stampede. Stampede is a critter move that debuffs the enemy pet to take 100% extra damage for 2 turns. The downside to Stampede though is that it does very little damage on its own and locks you into the move for 3 turns. So if you're able to get up a dot before using it, it's an extremely good move to use. And the Macro Bay Marionette is the king of dots. Number 16, the Ghostly Skull, mainly because he was one of the first 3 pets I leveled up. He also has Ghostly Bite, like Blighthawk, and Unholy Ascension, a move that kills you, but debuffs the entire opponent's team to take 25% extra damage. A great move to use against boss pets, and in PvP during your turn of immunity. Number 15, the Nexus Whelpling. Not only is he a perfect counter to flying types, he also has a really high damage moveset and is my go-to pet for grinding pet battles for XP, as he can very quickly take out 3 pets around level 20. I recommend getting the P/P breed as it hits pretty hard. For those of you who don't know what pet breeds are, I have a quick video that explains everything about them, but I'll also tell you a quick summary since I'm going to be mentioning more about pet breeds from this point on in the video. All pets gain extra stats as they level up, in addition to their baseline stats. There are only 4 stats in pet battling: health, power, which increases the amount of damage and healing you do, speed, which determines who goes first in the round, and balance, which is just a combination stat of all the other 3 stats. Pets are given a combination of 2 of these stats, which is what we call their breed. Let's say, for example, a pet is a power breed, and is given 20 extra stats to put into its breed. It will put all of its extra points into only power, making him a pure breed with 20 extra points of power. Now, let's take that same pet with 20 extra points of stats, only this pet is a power speed breed. He will only spend 18 points of his stats, evenly into power and speed, and just straight up not use the remaining 2 points, giving him less stats overall than the pure breed. But it gets even worse for balanced pets. Let's take the same pet with 20 extra stat points, only he's a balanced breed. He will only take 15 of the 20 points, and put 5 of them into power, speed, and health, making him even worse than a half-breed, as it just straight up doesn't use 5 of its points. And that's how pet breeds work. Pure breeds are better than half-breeds, and half-breeds are better than pets with balance in their breeds. Now, back to the list. Number 14, the P/P Emperor Crab and the P/P Iron Claw Scuttler. The Emperor Crab is one of the best undead counters in the game, as he can pretty much negate all dot damage and has a huge heal thanks to his crazy high amount of power, since he's a power breed. The Iron Claw Crab has one of the hardest hitting aquatic type moves with the Rip and Blood in the Water combo. Number 13, a Water Strider. Mainly because it's one of the easiest pets to get that can turn the weather to cleansing rains, and take advantage of the weather boost to its aquatic attacks. Changing the weather is a must for some tamer and boss battle fights. Number 12, the Jade Mistdancer, pretty much for the same reason as a Water Strider, although he's a little harder to get a hold of. He's also fantastic in PvP thanks to his rain dance ability. Number 11, the Clockwork Gnome. Clockwork Gnome is the only pet in the game with the Build Torrent ability, and is on this list for that one ability alone. His other moves and breeds are kinda garbage, but Build Torrent is so good that it doesn't matter. What the ability does is build a torrent that will hit 3 times, every turn for 4 turns, for a decent amount. But it only has a 2-turn cooldown, and you can have more than 1 torrent up at a time, allowing for some pretty sweet combos and easy takedown of just about any beast-type pet. Number 10, the Dark Moon Zeppelin, for his decoy and explosion combo. Decoy is a pretty great ability on its own, allowing you to block 2 attacks, but since decoy and explosion are on different tiers of talents, you can take both, and it allows for some sweet leveling strategies. Plus, he's just really good against beast types, which there are quite a few of in pet battling. Number 9, Little Bling. Notice that the last 3 pets have all been mechanical types. That's because they are really good in both PvP and non-PvP, as they counter beast types, another very common type to come across. Little Bling is the mechanical equivalent to the Macro Bay Marionette, in that it has dots and the mechanical stampede ability. Number 8, the Tranquil Mechanical Yeti. Mechanical Yeti has a lot going for him. 1, he's really cheap to buy or make if you're an engineer. 2, he has both Call Lightning, the mechanical weather ability, and Iron Cannon, the mechanical solar beam ability. And 3, he's mechanical. Even though his breed is garbage with health/balance, his moveset and easy availability put him high on the list. Number 7, the Sunreaver Micro Sentry. Like the Yeti, he has a Call Lightning, but he also has a dot, which takes full advantage of the Call Lightning effect, and actually has a good breed at P/P. He also combos extremely well with the next pet on this list, which is number 6, the Zandalari Ankle Render/D-Biter, P/P breed, or any of the Isle of Giant Raptors, just as long as they have 3 things. 1, they're a power breed, 2, the ability Black Claws, and 3, the ability Hunting Party. Black Claws puts a debuff on the target that increases their damage from every single attack by 144 for 3 rounds, including dots and multi-turn moves. Hunting Party is the beast equivalent to Stampede, but better as it only locks into the move for 2 turns and does more damage. If you have Call Lightning up, the Micro Sentry's dot, Black Claws, and Hunting Party going up, it's the most amount of damage you can do outside of a Howl Bomb, and great for taking out boss pets that need to die fast. Also, Black Claws plus Build Torrent plus Call Lightning does an unfair amount of passive damage. Number 5, any crow, or a Draenor tropical bird. Why? Because they have Nocturnal Strike, and a way to actually get it to hit. Nocturnal Strike is the hardest hitting flying type move, but only has a 50% chance to hit unless the target is blinded. Crows can also use Cold Darkness, a weather ability that makes all pets considered blind and gives Nocturnal Strike a 100% hit chance, in addition to doing a ton of damage on its own. Jungle Beaks have Nocturnal Strike and Rain Dance, which gives them an additional 50% chance to hit and crit, making Nocturnal Strike a 100% hit chance and a high chance of critting. There are also a ton of boss pets and tamer pets that are aquatic type, and most aquatic pets have a healing ability, which Call Darkness reduces by 50%, making crows the best counter to nearly all aquatic pets, even though it's not a perfect counter like the Jade Owl is from earlier on in the list. Number 4, a rabbit, with any breed combined with speed, preferably a pure S/S breed. Rabbits are the only pets in the game who can dodge 2 attacks, in the form of dodge and burrow. Being able to avoid 2 attacks is huge, and is the reason rabbits do well in PvP. Rabbits are fast already thanks to their family bonus, so if you get a rabbit with speed in its breed, even if it's a mixed breed, it can outspeed just about any non-speedy boss pet or tamer pet. Because there are some NPC pets who have inflated speed values, so that no normal pets can outspeed them. But you don't run into many. I have 3 Arctic Hares at level 25 and use them all, mainly for fighting Yulon in the Celestial Tournament, because I can avoid all but 1 attack every 5 rounds. So I just whittle it down bit by bit with my rabbit squad. I also use a team of snails to take down Chi-Chi in the tournament. Not that it's related to rabbits, but I just find it funny that I use a team of rabbits and snails. 2 very common critters to take down 2 of the boss fights and the hardest thing you can do with pet battlings, the Celestial Tournament. Number 3, the Anubish Idol, the best counter to critters and nearly all dot classes. The Anubish Idol is a hot pot of a whole bunch of things working well with each other. First off, he's an H/H breed, giving him a huge health pool. Next, he's a humanoid type. Humanoids heal for 4% of their max health every turn they do damage, which means he heals for a hefty chunk every round thanks to his large health pool. He also has a Sandstorm Weather ability, which does pretty decent damage on its own and reduces the damage all pets take by 74, which means if an attack or dot doesn't hit hard enough, it just straight up doesn't do damage. And since most critters use multi-hit abilities and dots, and he already takes less damage from critters thanks to his type advantage, he's actually a better counter to most critters than the perfect counters from earlier on in this list. But that's not all. He also has a hard-hitting basic move called Crush that either does moderate damage or a ton of damage, allowing him to easily do damage through his own Sandstorm and outlast other pets thanks to his heal every turn. And finally, he has the Deflection as his final move, which allows him to avoid any move and always goes first, allowing him to dodge any multi-turn move or a ticking bomb ability. So, like I said, all of his benefits are fine on their own, but together they create this monster of a pet that is amazing in both PvP and non-PvP scenarios. Number 2, the mechanical Pandaren Dragon Lane, who, in addition to being a double counter to magic type pets, is also just a super solid pet who's also great in PvP. He's an SS type mechanical with decoy, which means he'll go first in the round more often than not, and can be more proactive with his decoy than the Dark Moon Zeppelin can, who's a lot slower. The reason he is so high on this list is because he's just a super solid pet that fits with pretty much any team. Need a pet to fill a slot because you don't have the right pet to counter a type? Just use the Pandaren Dragon Lane. He'll do just fine 9 times out of 10. Plus, he's great in PvP thanks to being a fast decoy user, and his AoE Thunderbolt ability. Now it's time for the number 1 on this list, the Nether Fairy Dragon, preferably the SS breed, but really any breed works fine. If you're looking for one pet to level up to help you carry your other pets while you're just getting started out, this is your guy. I have strategies to beat all the Pandaren pet tamer dailies with 2 pets, and my Nether Fairy Dragons are in more than half of them. I don't use any other pet more than the Nether Fairy Dragon. Now, why is this pet so good? Well, for one, he's a perfect counter to flying types, a dragonkin with magic type moves. 2, he has a weather change effect that also hits hard. Changing the weather is nice and all, but the real reason he's beast is that on top of all that, he has his little old ability called Life Exchange. Contrary to the name of the ability, it doesn't actually exchange life, but kinda evens it out. So if your fairy dragon is at 1 health and your opponent is at 999 health when you use it, both pets will now be at 500 health. Sounds simple, right? Well, what actually just happened there was the dragon did 499 damage, while also healing up for 499 health. No other ability in the game can do that much damage and healing at the same time, and that's what makes the Fairy Dragon so strong. He can last for a really long time, which works in his favor thanks to Arcane Blast, which does more damage the more you use it. His pet can easily take out 2 pets by himself with some smart life equalizers, and it's not uncommon for him to take out all 3 pets by himself. And that's it for my top 25 pets to level to 25. Now, there were actually a little more than 30 pets listed, but let's not dwell on that fact. If you want to know which pet battling add-ons I use, or you want to watch some other helpful pet battling videos, they're all below in the video info.